Listen carefully. The reason you feel empty right now is not because no one loves you. It's because somewhere along the way, you stopped being yourself just to be loved. You smiled when you were hurting. You said yes when you wanted to say no. You became who they needed. And slowly, you disappeared. Tonight, you're going to realize something painful, but freeing. You didn't lose love. You lost yourself trying to keep it. The moment you start acting, you start losing yourself. It doesn't begin with a big decision. No one wakes up and says, "Today, I will stop being myself." It begins with something much quieter. A moment where you want to say no, but you say yes. A moment where something hurts, but you pretend it doesn't. A moment where you disagree, but you stay silent to keep the peace. And in that moment, something subtle happens. You choose acceptance over truth. At first, it feels small, almost invisible. You tell yourself it's not a big deal. You tell yourself, this is just how relationships work. But that's how it starts. Not with a dramatic loss of identity, but with tiny betrayals that feel justified. You begin to watch yourself more carefully. You think before you speak, not to express yourself, but to be approved. You adjust your tone, your words, even your personality, depending on who you are with. Slowly, you stop asking, "What do I feel?" and you start asking, "What will they like?" That shift is everything, because the moment your focus moves from your truth to their approval, you are no longer living from within. You are performing. And performance is exhausting. It requires constant awareness, constant adjustment, constant control. You can never fully relax because you are always managing how you are seen. This is why you feel tired, even when nothing is physically wrong, because deep inside, you are carrying the weight of being someone you are not. Buddhist wisdom teaches that suffering begins when there is a gap between who you are and how you live. And right now, that gap is growing. Every time you ignore your inner voice, every time you suppress what you truly feel, you widen that distance. You move further away from yourself. And the further you go, the harder it becomes to recognize who you were. At some point, you don't even notice it anymore. You get used to it. You become the easy person, the understanding one, the one who never complains, the one who always adjusts. And people praise you for it. They say you're kind. They say you're mature. They say you're easy to be around. But what they don't see is what it's costing you. Because behind that version of you, there is a quiet frustration, a silent exhaustion, a feeling that something isn't right, but you can't fully explain it. That feeling is not confusion. It's awareness trying to return. It's the part of you that knows. You have been ignoring yourself for too long. But here's the hardest truth to accept. You didn't lose yourself because of others. You lost yourself because you believed. You had to change in order to be loved. And once that belief takes root, every interaction becomes a test. Will they still like me if I'm honest? Will they stay if I show who I really am? Will I be enough without pretending? So you keep acting, not because you want to, but because you're afraid of what happens if you stop. This is the prison most people never realize they're in. A life where you are constantly present, but never truly seen. Because how can anyone see you if you're always hiding? And this is where the real suffering begins. Not in rejection, not in loneliness, but in the quiet, ongoing experience of abandoning yourself over and over again. The Buddha taught that the root of suffering is not the world around you, but the attachment to a false self. Right now, the version of you that is trying to please everyone, that is afraid to speak, that is constantly adjusting, that is not your true self. It is a mask, and the more you wear it, the more you forget what's underneath. But here's what most people never realize. You can only wear a mask for so long before it starts to suffocate you. That suffocation is the emptiness you feel today. So understand this clearly. Every time you act instead of express, every time you perform instead of being real, you are not just hiding yourself. You are slowly losing connection with who you truly are. And until that changes, no amount of love from others will ever feel enough. 2. You thought love meant becoming what they wanted. It didn't happen because someone forced you. No one sat you down and said, "Change yourself or you won't be loved." It was something you learned quietly, from small reactions, from subtle approval, from the way people responded when you were a certain version of yourself. When you were easy, people stayed. When you agreed, people smiled. When you adjusted, things felt smoother, and your mind made a simple conclusion: this is how I stay loved. So you started shaping yourself, not all at once, but piece by piece. You became more patient than you felt, more understanding than you truly were, more available than you had the energy for. You stopped expressing discomfort. You avoided conflict. You softened your truth, just enough to keep things stable. And over time, something dangerous happened. You stopped being yourself and started becoming what was acceptable. It felt like maturity. It looked like kindness. But deep inside, it was fear. Fear that if you showed your real thoughts, your real emotions, your real boundaries, you would lose the people you care about. So you made a trade. You traded honesty for approval. You traded authenticity for connection. You traded yourself for the feeling of being wanted. And at first, it worked. People stayed. Things felt peaceful. There were fewer conflicts. But something inside you started to fade. Because what you were receiving was not love for who you are. It was comfort for who you were pretending to be. And that difference is everything. Buddhist wisdom reminds us that anything built on illusion cannot bring lasting peace. And this version of you, this adjusted, controlled, carefully presented version, is an illusion. It is not false in a malicious way. It is false in a protective way. You created it to survive emotionally. You created it to avoid rejection. But the problem is, you can only be loved deeply when you are seen clearly, and if you are constantly changing yourself to match expectations, then what people are loving is not truly you. This is why something always feels incomplete. Even when people appreciate you, even when they say they care, there is still a quiet emptiness, because a part of you knows they don't really know me. And that realization is painful, because it means all the effort, all the adjusting, all the sacrificing didn't give you what you were truly seeking. You wanted to feel accepted, but acceptance that requires you to change yourself is not acceptance. It's condition, and living under conditions is exhausting. You begin to monitor everything: your tone, your reactions, your opinions. You think before you speak, not to be mindful, but to be safe. Safe from judgment, safe from rejection, safe from being too much or not enough. But in trying to stay safe, you lose your freedom. The freedom to be spontaneous, the freedom to be honest, the freedom to simply exist without editing yourself. And this is where the deeper suffering begins. Because now, even when you are surrounded by people, you feel alone. Not because no one is there, but because the real you is not present. The Buddha taught that attachment to identity creates suffering. But what happens when the identity you are attached to is not even real? Then the suffering becomes even more subtle. You don't just feel lost. You feel disconnected. Disconnected from others. And more importantly, disconnected from yourself. And here is the truth most people avoid. You were never meant to become what others wanted. You were meant to understand who you are and live from that place. Love is not something you earn by changing yourself. Love is something that naturally aligns when you stop hiding, but that requires courage. Because the moment you stop adjusting, you risk losing people who only liked the version you created. And that's the fear that keeps you stuck. Not the fear of being alone, but the fear of being seen. So you stay in the cycle, becoming, adjusting, performing, hoping that one day someone will love you enough to make it all worth it. But the truth is, no amount of external love can replace the connection you lost with yourself. And until you return to that, nothing will ever feel complete. 3. The more you give without awareness, the more you feel empty. At first, it feels like love. You give your time, you give your attention, you give your energy. You show up when others need you. You listen when no one listens to them. You sacrifice your comfort to keep things peaceful. And somewhere inside, you believe, this is what good people do. So you keep giving, even when you're tired, even when you need rest, even when something inside you is asking for a pause. You ignore that voice, because stopping feels selfish. Saying no feels wrong. Choosing yourself feels uncomfortable. So instead, you give more. But here's the truth no one tells you. Giving without awareness is not kindness. It's disconnection, because real giving comes from fullness, from a place where you have something to share. But when you are empty, what you're giving is not love. It's survival. You give because you're afraid of losing connection. You give because you don't want to disappoint. You give because it feels safer than being rejected. And slowly, giving becomes a habit, a pattern you don't question anymore. You become the person everyone relies on, the one who always shows up, the one who never says no. And people start expecting it, not because they're bad, but because you taught them that this is who you are. You taught them that your needs come last, that your time is always available, that your energy has no limit. But the truth is, you do have limits. You just stopped honoring them. Buddhist wisdom teaches balance, the middle path, a life where you neither suppress yourself nor overextend yourself. But you moved away from that balance. You kept pouring outward without ever returning inward. And now you feel it. That quiet emptiness, that tiredness, that sleep doesn't fix. That feeling of being surrounded by people, but still somehow drained, because you gave everything, except to yourself. You listened to others, but stopped listening to your own needs. You cared for others, but ignored your own exhaustion. And over time, your inner world became neglected, not broken, not destroyed, just empty, because you kept giving from a place that was never being refilled. And this is where confusion begins. You start asking yourself, why do I feel like this? Why am I so tired? Why doesn't anything feel enough? You look at everything you've done for others, and it doesn't match what you feel inside. You expected fulfillment, but what you got was emptiness. Because fulfillment doesn't come from how much you give. It comes from the state you give from. If you give from wholeness, you feel connected. If you give from emptiness, you feel depleted. And right now, you are not tired of giving. You are tired of giving without receiving anything within. The Buddha taught that attachment leads to suffering, but this isn't just attachment to people. This is attachment to an identity. The identity of being the giver, the strong one, the one who never needs anything. And that identity is heavy because it doesn't allow you to be human. It doesn't allow you to rest, to step back, to say, I need space. So you keep going. Even when your mind is exhausted, even when your heart feels distant, you keep showing up, but you are no longer present because there is nothing left inside you to truly give. And this is the turning point, the moment where you realize, I didn't become empty because I gave too much. I became empty because I forgot to give to myself. That realization is not weakness, it's awareness. And awareness is the beginning of change. Because once you see it clearly, you can no longer ignore it. You begin to notice the moments where you say yes, but feel resistance. You begin to feel the weight of giving when you're already drained. And slowly, you start understanding something deeper. You don't need to stop being kind. You need to stop abandoning yourself in the name of kindness, because real compassion includes you too. And the moment you start including yourself, that emptiness inside you begins to shift. 4. You confused attachment with love. It felt like love. The intensity, the need to stay close, the fear of losing them. It felt deep, real, undeniable. You told yourself, this is what love looks like. But look closer. Was it peace, or was it anxiety? Was it freedom, or was it fear? Because real love has a certain quality to it. It is calm, it is open, it allows space. But what you felt was tight. You needed their attention to feel okay. You needed their approval to feel secure. You needed their presence to feel complete. And when they pulled away, even slightly, something inside you reacted immediately. You felt restless, uneasy, uncertain. You started overthinking, replaying conversations, questioning yourself. What did I do wrong? Why are they distant? Are they losing interest? This is not love. This is attachment. Buddhist wisdom explains this clearly. Attachment is the desire to hold on, to control, to depend. Love is the ability to care without losing yourself. But you didn't see the difference. Because attachment feels powerful. It feels intense. It creates highs when things are good, and deep lows when things are not. And your mind mistakes intensity for depth. So you hold on tighter. You try harder. You give more. You become more careful, more accommodating, more available. Not because you want to express love, but because you're afraid of losing it. And fear changes everything. It shifts your focus. You stop being present and start being protective. Protective of the connection. Protective of their feelings. Protective of the image you've created. And slowly, you stop being yourself. Because attachment always asks for a price. And the price is your freedom. You can't speak freely because you don't want to upset them. You can't act naturally because you're thinking about how it will be received. You can't relax because part of your mind is always monitoring the situation, and this creates a constant tension inside you, a subtle pressure that never fully goes away. Even when things seem fine, you're not at peace because your happiness is not rooted within you. It's tied to something outside, to someone outside, and anything that exists outside your control will always feel unstable. That's why you feel lost. Not because love is wrong, but because what you called love was actually dependence. You needed them to feel okay. And when you need someone to complete you, you give them power over your inner state. Their presence lifts you. Their absence drains you. Their approval soothes you. Their silence disturbs you. You are no longer centered. You are reacting. This is the suffering the Buddha spoke about. Not the suffering of being alone, but the suffering of clinging. Clinging to people, clinging to outcomes, clinging to the idea that something outside you must remain stable for you to feel okay. But nothing outside you is permanent. People change, feelings shift, situations evolve, and when your sense of self is attached to something unstable, you become unstable too. This is why attachment leads to emptiness, because it pulls you away from your center. It places your peace in someone else's hands, and over time, you forget how to stand on your own. You forget how to feel okay without needing reassurance. You forget how to exist without depending on someone else's presence. And this creates a quiet fear inside you, the fear of losing them, because losing them feels like losing yourself. But here's the truth you need to see clearly. You didn't lose yourself because of love. You lost yourself because you confused love with needing. Love does not require you to hold on. Love does not require you to control. Love does not require you to become smaller, just to keep someone close. Real love begins when you are whole, when you don't need someone to complete you, but choose them from a place of fullness. And until you return to that place, every connection will feel heavy, because you won't just be loving them, you'll be depending on them. And dependence always creates fear. So, understand this. What you felt was not wrong. It was just misunderstood. It was attachment wearing the face of love. And now that you see it, you have a choice: to keep holding on, or to finally let go and come back to yourself. 5. You ignored your inner voice for too long. There was always a voice. Not loud, not dramatic, not demanding your attention. Just quiet, steady, and honest. A voice that spoke in moments when everything slowed down. A voice that whispered when something didn't feel right. A voice that tried to guide you before things became complicated. But you didn't listen, not because you didn't hear it, but because listening would have required change. And change felt dangerous, because that voice didn't tell you what you wanted to hear. It didn't tell you to keep pleasing. It didn't tell you to stay silent. It didn't tell you to adjust yourself just to keep others comfortable. It told you the truth, and the truth was uncomfortable. It told you when you were overgiving. It told you when you were being disrespected. It told you when you were betraying your own needs. But every time it spoke, you had a choice: to listen or to ignore. And most of the time, you ignored it. You told yourself, it's not a big deal. You told yourself, I'll deal with it later. You told yourself, I don't want to create problems. So you stayed quiet. You pushed the feeling down. You moved on. You kept going. And at first, nothing seemed wrong. Life continued. People stayed. Everything looked fine on the surface. But something inside you started to shift. That voice didn't disappear. It just became softer, more distant, harder to hear. Because every time you ignore your inner truth, you weaken your connection to it. Buddhist wisdom teaches that awareness is your guide, not external validation, not approval, not fear, but awareness. And your inner voice is the doorway to that awareness. It is not your enemy. It is not trying to make your life difficult. It is trying to keep you aligned. But alignment requires courage, because the moment you truly listen, you can no longer pretend. You can no longer say yes when you mean no, without feeling it deeply. You can no longer stay in situations that drain you, without becoming aware of the cost. You can no longer hide from yourself. And that's why ignoring the voice feels easier, because it allows you to continue the pattern without facing the truth. But here's what happens over time. That quiet voice starts to turn into discomfort, a feeling you can't fully explain, a tension in your chest, a heaviness in your mind, a sense that something is off, even when everything looks okay. That discomfort is not random. It is the voice trying to reach you in a different way. Because when you don't listen to awareness, it becomes emotion. And when you ignore emotion, it becomes suffering. This is how disconnection grows. Not all at once, but gradually. You stop checking in with yourself. You stop asking what you feel. You stop honoring what you need. And eventually, you reach a point where you say, I don't even know who I am anymore. But the truth is, you knew. You always knew. You just didn't trust yourself enough to act on it. You placed more value on keeping others comfortable than staying connected to your own truth. And every time you did that, you moved further away from yourself. It's like being in a crowded room where everyone is talking, but the one voice that matters most, yours, is barely heard. And after a while, you forget how to listen to it at all. This is the real loss. Not losing people, not losing relationships, but losing the connection to your own inner guidance. Because without that connection, You don't know where to stand. You don't know what feels right. You don't know what you truly want. So you look outward. You depend on others to tell you what to do, how to act, who to be. And that dependence creates more confusion, more exhaustion, more emptiness. But here is the truth you need to hear clearly. Your inner voice never left. It was never gone. It was just buried under layers of fear, habit, and silence. And the moment you slow down, the moment you stop running from yourself, you will start to hear it again. At first, it may feel unfamiliar. You may question it. You may doubt it, because you haven't trusted it in a long time. But it's still there, still steady, still honest, still guiding you. The problem is not that you don't know what's right. The problem is that you are afraid to follow it, because following it may require you to change, to speak up, to set boundaries, to walk away from things that no longer align with you. And that feels risky. But staying disconnected is costing you more than you realize. Every day, you ignore your inner voice. You stay in situations that drain you. You continue patterns that exhaust you. You repeat behaviors that move you further away from peace. And that's the cycle you've been living in. Not because you're unaware, but because you've been avoiding what awareness is asking of you. So the question is not, do I have an inner voice? The question is, am I willing to listen to it, even when it's uncomfortable? Because that is where everything begins to change. Not outside, not in other people, but within you. The moment you start listening again, you start returning to clarity, returning to truth, returning to yourself. And from that place, you no longer need to perform. You no longer need to guess who to be. You simply know. And that knowing is the foundation of real peace. 6. Emptiness is not punishment. It's a wake-up call. What you're feeling right now, this heaviness, this quiet emptiness, it feels like something is wrong with you. It feels like something is missing, like you've lost something important, like no matter what you do, nothing truly fills you. And because it feels uncomfortable, your first instinct is to escape it, to distract yourself, to stay busy, to seek something or someone that can take this feeling away. But what if this emptiness is not the problem? What if it's the message? Buddhist wisdom teaches that suffering is not here to punish you. It is here to wake you up, to show you where you have gone off path. And this feeling inside you is doing exactly that. Because emptiness does not appear without a reason. It appears when something inside you has been ignored for too long. It appears when you have been living in a way that is disconnected from your truth. It appears when you have given so much of yourself outward that there is nothing left within. But instead of listening to this signal, most people try to cover it. They chase distractions. They chase validation. They chase temporary relief. They fill their time, their mind, their space, hoping that if they keep moving, they won't have to feel it. But the more you run from emptiness, the deeper it follows, because it is not something outside of you. It is coming from within, and anything that comes from within cannot be escaped, only understood. The Buddha spoke about this clearly. He taught that the root of suffering is not the world, but the way we relate to it. And right now, your emptiness is showing you something important. You have been living for something that is not truly yours. You have been shaping your life around expectations, around approval, around the need to be accepted. And in doing so, you moved away from your center. That's why nothing feels satisfying, because you are trying to fill an internal disconnection with external experiences. and that never works. You can be surrounded by people and still feel empty. You can achieve things and still feel unfulfilled. You can receive love and still feel something is missing, because the emptiness is not about what you have, it's about where you are within yourself. Right now, you are not fully present with who you are. You are carrying layers of adjustment, layers of suppression, layers of unspoken truth, and those layers create distance. Distance between you and your real self. That distance is what you feel as emptiness. So instead of asking, how do I get rid of this feeling? Ask something deeper. What is this feeling trying to show me? Because emptiness is not random. It is precise. It appears exactly where awareness is needed. It is pointing to the places where you have been ignoring yourself. The moments where you said yes but meant no. The times where you stayed quiet when you needed to speak. The situations where you stayed even though you felt it wasn't right. All of that builds up, not as noise, but as silence. A silence within you that slowly grows, until one day, it becomes impossible to ignore. That is where you are now, at a point where distraction is no longer enough, where pretending is no longer working, where something inside you is asking to be faced. And that is not weakness. That is awareness rising. But awareness feels uncomfortable at first, because it breaks the illusion. It shows you things you avoided. It reveals patterns you didn't question. It brings you face to face with yourself, without filters. And that can feel overwhelming. So the mind tries to resist it. It says, this feeling is too much. I need to fix this quickly. I need something to make this go away. But rushing away from emptiness is how you stay stuck in it. Because emptiness is not asking to be fixed. It is asking to be felt, fully, without distraction, without judgment, without trying to escape. Because when you sit with it, something begins to shift. At first, it feels intense, uncomfortable, unfamiliar. But if you stay with it, you begin to notice something. It starts to reveal layers. You begin to see where the disconnection began. You begin to understand what you've been ignoring. You begin to recognize the patterns that led you here. And in that understanding, there is clarity. And in clarity, there is movement. Not forced movement, not rushed change, but natural awareness that begins to guide you. This is what the Buddha meant when he spoke about insight. Not knowledge from outside, but realization from within. And your emptiness is the doorway to that realization. It is showing you that something needs to change, not in the world around you, but in the way you relate to yourself. You don't need to become someone new. You don't need to search for something outside. You need to return. Return to your awareness. Return to your truth. Return to the parts of yourself you left behind. Because emptiness is not the end. It is the space where something real can begin. It clears out what is false. It strips away what is not aligned. It forces you to stop so you can finally see. And when you see clearly, you no longer chase what drains you. You no longer stay where you don't belong. You no longer ignore what you feel. You begin to move differently, not out of fear, but out of understanding. So don't fear this feeling. Don't label it as something bad. Don't rush to escape it, because this emptiness might be the most honest thing you've felt in a long time. And if you listen to it, truly listen, it will guide you back to the one place you've been avoiding, yourself. And when you return there, you will realize something powerful. You were never empty. You were just disconnected. And now, you are finally beginning to see. 7. The only way back is returning to yourself. You've tried everything else. You tried giving more. You tried being better. You tried becoming who they needed you to be. And still, something felt missing. Because no matter how far you go outward, you cannot escape what is happening within. At some point, the mind becomes quiet enough, the distractions lose their power, and you are left with one undeniable truth. You have been away from yourself for too long, not physically, but internally. You've been present in conversations, but not in your truth. You've been there for others, but not for yourself. You've been living, but not fully connected to your own experience. And now, everything inside you is asking for one thing: return, not to a place, not to a person, but to yourself. This is the part most people avoid, because returning to yourself sounds simple, but it requires something most people are not used to: honesty, real honesty. Not the kind where you explain your behavior, not the kind where you justify your choices, but the kind where you sit quietly and admit what you've been avoiding, admit where you've been pretending, admit where you've been overextending, admit where you've been staying, even when you knew it wasn't right. That level of honesty can feel uncomfortable because it removes the illusion. It takes away the story that says, "I had no choice," and replaces it with a deeper truth: "I knew, but I didn't act." Not because you're weak, but because you were afraid. Afraid of losing people, afraid of being misunderstood, afraid of being alone. So you stayed where it felt familiar, even if it didn't feel right. And over time, that fear became a habit, a pattern of choosing comfort over truth. But now, something inside you is shifting. You can feel it. A quiet resistance to the way things have been. A subtle awareness that you can't continue like this. That awareness is the beginning of your return. Because returning to yourself doesn't start with action. It starts with recognition. Recognizing that you've been disconnected. Recognizing that you've been ignoring your own needs. Recognizing that something deeper is calling you back. And once you see that clearly, you cannot unsee it. You begin to notice the small moments. The moments where you almost say yes, but feel resistance. The moments where you stay silent, but something inside wants to speak. The moments where you go along, but don't feel aligned. These moments become your guide, not something to avoid, but something to follow. Because returning to yourself is not about changing everything at once. It's about choosing differently, in small, honest ways. Saying no when you mean no. Speaking up when something matters. Stepping back when you feel overwhelmed. These are not dramatic actions, but they are powerful, because each one reconnects you to your center. Each one brings you closer to who you really are. At first, it may feel unfamiliar. You may feel guilt. You may feel doubt. You may question yourself, because you are breaking a pattern of always putting others first. And when you break that pattern, your mind reacts. It tells you, this is wrong. You're being selfish. You're going to lose people. But look deeper. Is it wrong to listen to yourself? Is it selfish to honor your limits? Is it dangerous to be honest about what you feel? Or is it simply unfamiliar? Because you've spent so much time living for others, that living for yourself feels uncomfortable. But discomfort is not a sign that you're doing something wrong. It's a sign that you're doing something new. And new is where growth happens. Buddhist wisdom teaches that freedom comes from understanding your own nature, not from controlling others, not from chasing approval, but from being fully present with who you are. Right now, your nature is not broken. It's just buried under habits, buried under fear, buried under years of putting yourself second. But it's still there, waiting for you to stop running, waiting for you to stop adjusting, waiting for you to finally turn inward. Because everything you've been searching for, peace, clarity, stability, does not come from being loved by everyone. It comes from not abandoning yourself anymore. This is the shift. The moment you stop asking, how do I keep everyone happy? And start asking, what is true for me right now? That question changes everything, because it brings your attention back to the only place that matters, within. And from that place, your decisions become clearer. You no longer act out of fear. You no longer speak out of obligation. You no longer stay out of habit. You begin to move with awareness. Not perfectly, not all at once, but honestly. And honesty creates alignment. Alignment between what you feel and how you live. That alignment is peace. Not the kind that depends on others, but the kind that stays, even when things around you change. So understand this clearly. The way back is not complicated, but it is direct. It asks you to stop looking outward and start listening inward, to trust what you feel, even when it's inconvenient, to choose yourself, even when it's uncomfortable. Because the moment you do that, you stop losing yourself. And when you stop losing yourself, you stop feeling empty, not because everything around you is perfect, but because you are finally connected to the one thing that was always missing, you. And from that connection, everything else begins to fall into place. Not forced, not controlled, but naturally. Because when you return to yourself, you don't just find who you are, you find the peace you were trying to get from everyone else. So if you feel empty right now, don't ignore it. Don't run from it. Don't try to fill it with more noise, more people, more distractions. Because this emptiness is showing you something most people never see, that you've been living for others while slowly leaving yourself behind. But now you see it, and once you see it, you can't go back to being unconscious. This is your moment, not to become someone new, but to return to who you were before you started trying so hard to be loved. Start small, be honest, just once. Say no, just once. Choose yourself, just once, and watch what begins to change. Because the truth is, you were never hard to love. You just forgot how to be yourself. And the moment you remember that, everything shifts.